right, House of Payne fans. I'm feeling a little bit better. Honestly, I'm a bit sad. I'm still not at 100%. I'd say I'm about at 85. I wanted to go to a couple stores early this morning, around 7:30, 8 o'clock, like Walmart, Dollar Tree. But again, since I'm not 100%, I'm not even going to bother to go out yet, which is sad because I just wanted to go. Less traffic. Sun was coming up, but oh well. Maybe next week. I was reading and responding to comments in my House of Payne review, and I really wanted to see what people were saying in regards to my thoughts on this week's episode about, Lisa pretty much, not really doing much of anything while Malik is trying to juggle, watching children and then dealing with his dad pretty much. And I'm not mad at CJ for doing what he's doing. It's just that, Malik is dealing with a lot right now, and he really doesn't have a partner who's willing. I'm not even going to say able, but willing to help him out. And I believe it was Yolanda who responded to another person's comment, and she said something along the lines of, it wouldn't surprise me that if after having the baby, Lisa just ups and abandons Malik. Pretty much pulling a Miranda of sorts. I could see that happening. Because of the fact that she thinks that being pregnant means she doesn't have to do a thing. She doesn't have to lift a finger. She could just enjoy the privilege, or whatever you want to call it, of living in a home that somebody else is paying for, the bills, the food, the water, the electricity, and doesn't seem to comprehend that just because you're pregnant doesn't mean you get a get out of jail, get out of responsibility free card. Not to mention the fact that, Malik messed up. Not only the fact that he, decided to have sex without a condom. I believe that was established early on in the season that, I didn't use a condom and boom, now she's pregnant. So I do feel for him, but at the same time, I do like the way it's semi-written. I say semi because there are times where an episode like this will amaze me, but then the very next episode will just be like, dang it, Tyler, come on now. I just feel like this is very realistic, because think of the times where in real life, these girls get knocked up and the man who was responsible for it just ups and leaves them alone. And then they have to deal with the repercussions of being pregnant. Maybe the family disowns them for whatever reason. And sometimes, these girls may have been in school and now they feel like their entire life is ruined. And then we got the flip side of that where, it's not always the man who's the deadbeat. Sometimes it's the mom who isn't worth 2 cents. And I do like that angle of it. I just feel like the writing could be a little more lenient on Malik. And remember, I have not been the biggest, if at all, a Malik fan this season. Like, if you go back to my reviews, and I feel like I've done reviews on every single House of Payne episode this season. So if you are newer to my channel, then check out my House of Payne playlist, because I've done reviews and other commentary on every single episode of season 9 so far. And Malik has not been painted in the best of pictures in regards to irresponsibility, overly sassy. Maybe because Jasmine isn't a prominent character this season, I feel like that's probably why they amped up Malik to kind of make up for that gap in the young character who always has something to say. I feel like that's probably what they're doing here. But the thing is, I don't really like how you got Malik in a situation where he's in a lose-lose. Not only did he screw up his, I guess you could say, let me say this, because I can't say I experienced this myself for obvious reasons, but being pregnant or getting someone pregnant doesn't destroy your life. Sure, it might make things more difficult, especially if you were like, okay, I'm on a career path, or I'm working to get through college or whatnot, and then the pregnancy just throws an entire wrench in the situation. But like CJ said it best, the reason I was able to make it when I first got your mother pregnant with you is the fact that I had a partner who was willing to help me out. The fact that we realized we were in this together, not one person gets to lounge around while the other one does all the work. And that makes a lot of sense. Not to say that things don't get so rough that one or both parties decide to just up and, abandon the relationship or the pregnancy, whether it be through adoption, abortion, dropping off the kid with the grandparents, just feeling like they'll raise them while they go out and gallivant around and everything. I just feel like when it comes down to it, Malik is in between a rock and a hard place where not only is he going to try to make it through school, but now he has to work. And now he has to save up money to get an apartment so him and Lisa can move up out of there. I mean, if Lisa doesn't want to go back to the pole, which, I mean, she said she would be willing to do so before she loses her figure and everything. But then again, she said, yeah, I see some pregnant women on the poles too. It's just one of those situations where I mentioned this in the comments section of my episode review that I forgot to mention how Malik was being a bit, I think sexist is the right term there, where he just assumed the gender roles of, well, my auntie Ella cooks for my uncle Curtis and my mom cooks for my dad, so I was assuming you would be in here cooking for me. And yeah, that was a bit like, hey, that just shows that this generation doesn't work the same as the previous one, because there are just so many things. Like, look, like I said before, I'm 29, and my parents, my mom, oh yeah, her birthday's the 29th this month. She's like a year and a half older than my dad, and I just look at how their dynamic was when I was growing up versus like me, and if I ever got into a relationship now, things are just drastically different in terms of like how gender norms are. I mean, heck, even looking at aunts and uncles and my grandparents and whatnot, it's just one of those things where what was once the norm is no longer normal. It's like, yeah, the woman stays home, cooks and cleans and all while the man goes out and work. But just looking at the world over the past 10 years or so, I remember just looking at those statistics where it's now not uncommon for the man to be the stay-at-home dad while the wife is out there working the job. And and this is pre-pandemic stuff here. Let's just put that into perspective too. So, I mean, how many movies and shows have we seen where like one particular spouse or partner, or basically one half of the relationship, I'm talking engagement, marriage, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, basically two people that are, for lack of a better phrase, either shacking up or they live together, whatever phrase you prefer, where it's like one person in the relationship wants to like, hey, I want to go back to school so I can, finish up, or I want to go back to school to get a master's or a degree in something else. That way I can get a promotion at my current job, or I'll quit my current job, get a higher degree or whatever, so I can get an even better job. So in that case, the bringing home of the bacon truly relies on one particular person, while the other one focuses on their education. So then when the time comes for them to get their degree, they want to switch things up, and their initial agreement is null and void, where it's like, whoa. Now that I got my degree and I'm going to be getting a better job, who says you could stop working? Well, it's like, well, babe, like when we first planned this out, I was going to shoulder the load of doing all this work so you could get this degree. That way you'll be making even more money than us combined before you started working. So there's always going to be that lack of understanding if one person looks at the other person to take advantage of them. And that's clearly what Lisa is doing. I mean, when you think about it, Malik isn't being much of a man. I know that sounds weird, because if nothing else, he is being, or at least attempting to be, a good man by doing right by Lisa. The problem is he just assumed a bit too much, like, oh, my parents will just let us stay with them. But it didn't click in his mind that, oh, wow, I mean, I guess we can't stay here forever. So this will be temporary. I will need to get a job, because who's to say how long it would have taken Malik to even bother looking at the want ads or being shown to do something other than study, which again is not a bad thing. But at the same time, he should have realized he would need to bring some form of income in instead of just expecting to lounge around his parents' house. I mean, it reminds me of one of the later seasons of That 70s Show where Hyde went to Vegas and married a stripper. But basically, I just feel like at the core of it, Lisa really isn't doing much aside from bringing a baby into this world. And as a result, she's probably going to step out on Malik and the child. You know, I can see her after the baby's born, she'll probably go back to her old ways, you know, going to the strip club and everything to, you know, well, work, if you will, and possibly, you know, meet somebody else or hook up with somebody else. There are just so many things that could happen with this because remember, I believe her and Malik said they don't believe in like marriage and, you know, she doesn't believe in God, things like that. So it's just one of those things where I'm going to be very interested to see what's going to happen from here on out because so far we've been seeing more development in Malik than anything from Lisa. Lisa's just proving how inadequate she's going to be as a partner, as a mother, and as a good person, to be honest. Like, I don't think she's evil or anything like that, but she is, I mean, I feel like the thing we're really missing from Lisa, and I don't want to say I hate her, I just feel like we don't know enough about her. Like, you know, in the last episode, she was all like, well, we don't understand each other. We need to communicate more. So we don't know each other that well. And I'm like, that definitely explains a lot. But I wish we knew a bit more about, and I'm not going to be judgmental because look, we're knocking on the door at like 160,000 subscribers. So I would not be surprised if there have not been some people on this channel who are, you know, exotic dancers is the correct term, if you will. I don't know. Maybe you did it to get through college. Maybe you're doing it now. I don't know. This is the internet. All I'm saying is, I wonder what put her in that position in regards to, has she always had to make it on her own? But I mean, I'm guessing just based on the person she has shown herself to be, she probably has, well, gotten by on her looks. I guess it's the best way to put it. Cook? No, men have always bought me meals. Clean? No, men have always just let me lounge around, do whatever. And I mean, we don't know what her family life was like when she was younger. Like, what if her parents were the same way? What if one of her parents stepped down on the other and she was raised by her auntie or something? We just don't know. I feel like these are key elements that we should get more of in regards to these characters, as opposed to them just standing around saying the same repetitive dialogue over and over again. And I'm not saying we have to have an exposition dump in every single episode. No, I'm not saying that at all. But I just feel like there are key lines of dialogue that could possibly give us more insight into who she is as a person. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Lisa is going to eventually abandon Malik and the baby? I mean, given the fact that she was ready to up and leave just because Malik called her out, rightfully so, for taking the remote control, I feel like at this point, Malik's going to be changing the diapers. He's going to be cooking. He's going to be cleaning. He's going to be trying to finish school. He's going to be working while she ain't doing a damn thing. So I just feel like either Miss Ella, Janine, Jat, somebody needs to set her straight, because at this rate, it's not going to work out. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you'd like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And I'll talk to you later.